So you're making videos, but nobody's clicking. And I bet you I know why. Your thumbnail sucks. I know it's harsh, but here's the thing. Most of the top performing videos on YouTube use custom designed thumbnails, not auto-generated frames, not random screenshots, custom designed thumbnails. And if you're not doing this, it's hurting your channel. Making a killer thumbnail is actually counterintuitive. People overcomplicate it. If you just focus on 1 or 2 key aspects, it can take your thumbnail from a 3, 4, 5 to a 10 out of 10. Making a thumbnail isn't just about making it pretty. It's about understanding why people click. And that's what we're diving into today. So here's the truth. You spend 1 second deciding whether or not to click on your video. Not 5 seconds, not let me read your title and think about it. 1 second of pure gut level judgment. Think about that. Your thumbnail has to communicate its entire message and trigger an emotion to convince someone to stop scrolling in less time than it takes to blink. And this is why complexity kills. When someone sees your thumbnail, their brain isn't reading, it's not analyzing, it's just reacting. And if there's too much going on, the brain just says skip that and moves on. And this is the foundation of everything we're going to talk about today. Every design choice, every color, every element, it all ties back into this 1 second rule. Here's where most creators completely sabotage themselves. They overcomplicate it. They think more elements equals more information equals more clicks. And it's the exact opposite. Thumbnails with 3 or more distinct visual elements see a much lower click-through rate than thumbnails with a single focal point. And here's a practical example. See famous YouTuber Matt Armstrong here? You instantly know what his video is going to be about. There's something about a crash-damaged supercar here. It instantly raises questions in your head. How much did he pay for it? What's he going to do with it? Why did he buy a crash-damaged supercar? And here's another one. The Outdoor Boys, famous YouTube channel. Super simple thumbnails. A man in the outback. Again, it raises these questions. What is he doing out there? How's he going to survive? How's he going to sleep? How's he going to keep warm? Our brain wants to know what the next step is. Our brain has this unanswered question, what's commonly called a curiosity gap. And this works across all niches. Look at DiGiovanni here, one of the top YouTube food channels. Each thumbnail has a specific single focal point. The best steak, pizza, or the hottest chili. Now you're thinking, what does it taste like? How hot is that chili? And this simplicity helps create the curiosity gap. The title helps increasing intrigue, and that combination, if done right, results in the click. Adding more stuff just makes your thumbnail perform worse. So you see how it's counterintuitive here. Why? Because of something called cognitive load. When there's too much to process, the brain just gives up and moves on. It's easier to skip than to figure out what you're looking at. Think of your thumbnail like a spotlight on a stage. When everything is lit, nothing stands out. But when there's one spot and everything else fades into darkness, your eye goes exactly where it's supposed to go. One focal point, one clear subject, everything else supports that focal point. And this is the difference between thumbnails that work and thumbnails that don't. Simplicity is your competitive advantage. I see so many people getting this wrong, myself included. Let's talk about the next single most powerful element you can put in a thumbnail. A human face, but not just any face. A face with genuine emotion. Thumbnails with expressive faces like surprise, shock, or excitement boost click-through rates by 20 to 30% compared to neutral faces. And here's why. Your brain is hardwired to recognize these faces and read emotions before it processes anything else. It's evolutionary. We're social creatures, and facial expressions communicate danger, opportunity, excitement, fear, all those things that kept our ancestors alive. So when someone's scrolling and they see a face with some genuine emotion, be it surprise or excitement, their brain stops and goes, wait, what's happening there? Why are they reacting like that? That curiosity, that's how you get a click. But, and this is crucial, the emotion has to be genuine. Neutral faces do nothing. You need real, expressive emotion that makes people wonder what caused it. Okay, so what if you want to add text to your thumbnails? Tell people what the video is about. While text can help, thumbnails with fewer than 4 words achieve 30% higher click-through rates. Remember that, less text equals more clicks. Here's some great examples of where text can add to the thumbnail, keeping it light and simple. Remember, viewers aren't reading, they're reacting. Text is processed much slower than images. So when you cram a sentence onto your thumbnail, you're asking the viewer's brain to work. And the brain says, nah, I'm good with that, and just scrolls past. Like a road sign, we want to get our viewer to stop and pay attention. Stop works. Please reduce velocity due to potential hazards ahead. doesn't. Keep it to 2 or 3 words max. Bold, high contrast, action oriented. And here's the key. Your thumbnail and title serve different jobs. The thumbnail stops the scroll and the title provides more context. Don't duplicate it. All right, let's talk about color, because this is where it gets interesting. Everyone says use bright colors, and they are kind of right, but also kind of wrong. Here's what actually matters: contrast and composition. So look at these 3 thumbnails from MrBeast. There's 3 dominant colors in each of these thumbnails: red, yellow, green, bright blue. These all work to grab attention, not because they're inherently better, but because they create high contrast. The data shows that high contrast between your subject and background boosts visibility by 30%. But here's the catch. It's not about making neon rainbow chaos. It's about strategic contrast. Use complementary colors. If your subject is warm-toned, use a cool-toned background. If your main element is dark, use a bright background. The goal isn't to hurt people's eyes. It's to make your thumbnail stick out and instantly distinguishable from the 50 other thumbnails surrounding it, to grab attention. Here's an interesting one. Visual cues like arrows and circles can increase click-through rates by up to 25%. But, and this is a big but, only when you limit them to 1 or 2. An arrow pointing at the important thing? Great. It directs attention exactly where you want it. 3 arrows, 5 circles, and a bunch of lines everywhere. It's just visual noise. It's cognitive overload. People just skip it. So use visual cues sparingly and purposefully. They should guide the eye, not confuse it. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough: brand consistency. When your thumbnails have a unique and consistent style, similar layouts, color schemes, fonts, viewers start recognizing your content before they even read the title. And recognition builds trust, and trust leads to higher click-through rates. This doesn't mean every thumbnail should look identical. It means they should feel like they come from the same creator. Same energy, same visual language, same quality standards. Think about your favorite YouTubers. I bet you can probably pick their thumbnails out in a crowded feed, right? And that's not an accident. That's intentional design consistency. Now here's where a lot of creators completely miss the mark. They design their thumbnails on huge 27-inch monitors. Zoom in, make everything look perfect, and then wonder why nobody clicks. Want to know what your problem is? Look at your thumbnail on mobile screen. And guess what? Most views actually happen on mobile. And at that size, text under a certain size becomes illegible. Busy designs become visual noise, and that clever detail you spent an hour on, it's invisible. And this is why simplicity isn't just a design preference, it's a necessity. Your thumbnail needs to work at the size of a postage stamp, because that's how people are actually seeing it. Here's the bottom line then. Your thumbnail is your first impression. It's the difference between someone watching your video or scrolling past. It's an easy, high return optimization that you can make today. Not better cameras, not fancier editing, just create better thumbnails. And there's a lot of talk about AI-generated thumbnails being the future, and I believe it is. I use it for all my thumbnails. I can try thousands of different options quickly, and that's why I built ViewsMax. It's trained on winning thumbnails. It's my unfair advantage. So here's what you can do right now. 1, go back and look at your last 5 to 10 thumbnails on mobile size. Be honest, can you instantly tell what they're about? 2, pick one of those videos to test a redesign. Do everything we just talked about. 1 focal point, expressive face, minimal to no text, and high contrast. 3, use YouTube's A/B testing or just swap it out and track your CTR over the next week. 4, apply what works to your next 5 videos and see what happens. This isn't just theory. I'm confident it will make a huge change in your content creation strategy. This proven psychology comes from data from thousands of performing videos. Your content might be incredible already, but if nobody clicks, it doesn't matter. Fix your thumbnails and everything else gets easier. Once you fix your thumbnails, you can focus on your script and delivery. I'll create a video on that next that helps you to keep the viewer hooked throughout the video. Now, go and fix your thumbnails, and I'll see you in the next video.